Hello, and welcome again to another Let's Study of Programming Principles and Practice using C++, 3rd edition. So here we have left off with finishing the drills of Chapter 1, Hello World, and we've reached the review section of this chapter, and I have completed these review questions on a LibreOffice document, and I'll quickly go over what I believe to be sort of correct answers to these questions. So we have programming principles and practice using C++, Chapter 1, Hello World, review. Question 1, what is the purpose of the Hello World program? The purpose of the Hello World program is to introduce basic programming features and to establish a development environment where a programmer can edit, compile, link, and run a basic program. So, establish a development environment. So what I'm talking about here is that in order to create this Hello World program, you might think of it as a very, very simple, almost trivial thing to do. But in reality, it's actually kind of difficult, depending on the language, but it involves a lot of background work to get this Hello World printed to the screen. It takes a lot of work to obtain a compiler, to learn the language, to create the file, to edit that file, to compile, link, and then be able to run that file in your programming environment. So that Hello World program is a lot more important than you might originally think, and that's the purpose of the Hello World program, is to set up all those background activities and get someone introduced to the language and being able to edit and build their own programs. Moving on to question 2, name the 4 parts of a function. I believe the 4 parts of a function is defined by the return type, followed by the function name, and a parameter list, and a function body. So I have the example being the int data type, the main function name, and the parameter list either being empty or having the int argc and the character vector argv, as well as having the function body. For this example, I use the Hello World example, std cout with the output operator, Hello World, and return 0. Question 3, name a function that must appear in every C++ function. This function is the main function with return type int. In question 4, in the Hello World program, what is the purpose of the line return 0, semicolon? This purpose to the line return 0 is to satisfy the return type of the main function and communicate to the caller that we've successfully executed the Hello World program. So it communicates to the caller a successful program execution. If we pass something other than 0, it can be assumed that something went wrong and to look up the error code of what it got passed. Question 5, what is the purpose of the compiler? The purpose of the compiler is to convert program source code, i.e. human-readable, language-defined code, to object code, or machine code, which can be only understood by the machine, to be linked later into an executable program or dynamically collaborate. In question 6, what is the purpose of the import statement? The import statement is purposed to make available the exported members of the module named after import. For example, import std makes available the exported members of the std module, such as std cout. In question 7, what is the purpose of the hashtag include directive? The hashtag include directive is a preprocessor directive to copy all text from the named source to be inserted at the location of the hashtag include. For example, hashtag include physics.h signals the preprocessor to look for the file physics.h and copy all of its contents by default. We'll look into that later about preprocessor definitions, to where hashtag include physics.h is in the source file. With question 8, what does a CPP suffix at the end of a file signify in C++? The .cpp suffix signifies a C++ source file extension. This is used to designate the file as a C++ source file for programs to recognize it as such. Question 9. What does the linker do for your program? The linker links together related object files together into a program. Question 10. What is the difference between a source file and an object file? A source file is a human-readable C++ language-defined text-based file or files, and an object file is a machine-readable only binary code-based file. They exist at different stages of development of a program. Question 11. What is an executable? A single file created from compiled source files and linked object files ready to be ran or executed in the environment that it was built to be used in. For example, the Windows operating system or the Linux operating system. Question 12. What is an IDE and what does it do for you? An IDE is an interactive development environment, I like that term, or integrated development environment, which provides functionality to create projects and files, edit files and build settings, compile code, link, and run programs, often with debugging features, from start to finish in a useful single application. We've been using Visual Studio 2022, Community Edition, although I've used in the past Eclipse. Question 13. How do you get a compiled program to run? A compiled program can be run by the command line or by selecting the file in a file explorer. For example, the ./program name in a Linux terminal. Or I believe the / also works in a Windows PowerShell. Question 14. What is a comment? A comment is either a line using the / token for commenting out the rest of the line, or a block of text using the /*/ where all text within the / and the * tokens is ignored. Within a program source file, that is ignored by the compiler as a white space and is used to provide information to source file readers. So, for people who are programming the file, for yourself, for others who are reading your files, it provides additional information that the code, the source file contents themselves don't necessarily provide, such as the purpose of the file, who wrote it, what a function does if it's not explicitly represented by, say, the function name or its inputs. Question 15. What is the purpose of a drill? I believe the purpose of a drill is to practice or drill a topic into practice or memory by performing simple tasks in sequence. So they might not be inventive, they may not be challenging, but these drills provide a moment for you to test your knowledge as well as to work through a problem, which is great practice, and it helps keep what you just learned into memory, or commit to your own memory what you just learned. actually very much like the activity of drills, and I found myself to be using drills such as writing boilerplate code for DirectX 12 applications. I've written them so many times that it is by definition, I feel, drilled into memory, and I can almost write 80% of a fully functional DirectX 12 program, a very simple one, mind you, program by memory. Finally, question 16. If you understand everything in the textbook, why is it necessary to practice? Well, I believe it is necessary to practice, even if you fully believe you understand everything in the textbook, because programming has a practical skill aspect similar to playing an instrument. One cannot expect to become a good musician from reading and understanding alone. You can't read a book on playing the guitar and expect to be able to play the guitar. Practice helps memorize information for better recollection and retention, along with testing of assumed correct knowledge via encountering the real. So you may believe that you understand everything about the material, but when it comes to using it, to practice it, or to bring it into practical reality, your knowledge is going to be tested. What you believe to be true is going to be tested, and problems are going to be encountered that may not be understood. So, this concludes my review of Chapter 1 section on Hello World of Programming Principles and Practice using C++, 3rd edition by Bjorn Strastrup. Thanks again, and stay tuned. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more videos on this series and others on this channel. And I'll look forward to making more content on this wonderful book. Thank you.